Hey, what's going on, guys? Double 18 Set Shadow here. We're heading into the release of Set 4 Cosmic Mythos in just a few more days, but I realized that of all my market watches on the last few weeks, I have not been talking about the pre-orders for this set. To be fair, they tend to be around the same, no matter which set it is. Right now, we're looking at $70 for a box and $1,150 for a case. No packs are up for pre-sale at this point, which has been pretty typical of all the sets that we have seen so far. As for futuristic value, Cosmic Mythos has some pretty good cards in it, as well as the Code Geass collaboration. So, I feel like the biggest driver is going to be just how popular the Code Geass cards, especially the leader cards, are going to be. The only signed one that we should be getting is Lelouch, while all the rest of the leader cards will be high rarity, but they won't have any signed versions. At the very least, that's how the Japanese product was built, with Lelouch being the only sign, and it has a regular leader card, of course. Today's theme, I actually have a theme for today's Market Watch. It's going to be high rarities. We've been talking about most of your typical staples and lots of cards that are moving up and down, but to be fair, for the most part, we've only seen a lot of downtrends when it comes to Shadowverse Evolve, and not too surprising given that we haven't seen a real pickup in value yet. The BSF 2024 has probably helped, especially when you consider Heroes and Valiant Fencer taking a real big leap in value. We've had Agnes Tachyon, which also shot up at one point, and a few other examples. But I want to see where some of these high rarity cards have been going. So our first one today is going to be Jabberwock, which, on top of the fact that it comes as an ultimate rare, it's an alternate art ultimate rare, which is more alternate than you would expect. Keep in mind that the original Jabberwock is a dragon. This time they decided to change it into a woman because they wanted to do that. Currently, looking at prices on this one has not been selling since mid-March and has been selling at $73 to $74. Availability right now is $74 plus, but with not much in terms of selling quantity, and the downgrading market price, which was about $78 before, I don't see this card really moving anywhere, and Jabberwock doesn't really have a lot of playability these days. I mean, at least you don't see it much in the competitive scene. Next one is Magical Fairy Lilac, which is currently $56 base, but a market price of almost $80. This one has sold very sporadically. Latest sale was at the end of March, but there was a huge gap from the beginning, where it sold for $75 and then someone did buy it for $56. Currently, we've got $56, $57 for most of the listings that you see on the front page here. And ultimately, the market price has been down. Originally, it was above 90. And this card is played in any Fable Forest build at this point for its rather generic ability, I'd say. And even if you don't play it in Fable, you can play it in a different deck, as it can generate its own Fable counter to destroy followers. Cinderella's an interesting case, where this one saw a massive drop-off for its ultimate rare. Originally, it was above $100 as well, but you can see that recent sales, and this one's been selling a bit more readily than the others. We've had 3 sales in the last few weeks that ranged from $33.50 to almost $35, and the currently available listings are all $33, $35, all the way up to $40. And there are also a good amount of quantity of this one on the market. 27 listings for this ultimate rare. And I gotta tell you something, in my personal experience, I mean, for those of you who saw my box openings for this, I pulled this card, Ultimate Rare. At locals a while back, I picked a box out for a friend, and he also pulled a Cinderella Ultimate Rare. And yesterday at locals, someone from their prize packs pulled another Cinderella Ultimate Rare. Somehow I'm starting to feel like this Cinderella Ultimate might just be a really common Ultimate to pull. Or that may just be me, because, things are weird like that. Next card is the Sign of Marozensky, the base form, which is currently $99.50 for its base. Market price is $103.21. And while the market price has been dropping off, it was not much higher before. 112 was around the original market price, and it's still selling at a pretty decent rate. For the last half of March, we saw 3 sales that ranged from $90 to $100, and currently the card is at $100 to about $115. Not too many listings left, overall 8, but 8 is still a fairly high amount for a signed card. Marozensky is looking to get some value with set 4, given that Necrocharge is also getting some more value. And of course, we've got the Evo version of it too, which also has a drop off on the market price, which was originally just under $70, and it's been selling about as much as the base form, $50 all the way to $68 recently. Available listings, there's one at $60. After that, it goes back up to $70, and that's where the majority of them are. So, one of the ones that sells a little better, Marozensky overall. The evolved form of Silent Suzuka is currently $140 signed, and we've got 6 listings on this one with a market price of $116. This one's market price has actually been on an uptrend from about $104 to the $116 mark. Although when you think about where it's actually selling at, it hasn't sold since the beginning of March, but it was selling for $150 pretty consistently, and I want to take a look at where it was further back. 105 to 100. So all the more recent ones sold for closer to 150, and most of the listings available, actually it's a split. We've got a few at 150 and lower. The rest of them are 185 to 200. That's among 6 of them, so that's not too much to say. I'm not sure if it'll be able to hold at this. I think Suzuka ends up just kind of falling off after some time. But as well, you have to consider those who like Uma Musume will probably want to pick these up to hold anyway. Ricokashimoto, which is one of the bigger legendaries to pick up in general from Uma Musume, currently has 5 listings, where this card was almost always sold out or had only 1 listing on the market. It's $129.24 for the base and also has an uptrend on the market price. Granted, it's not that high. Its market price has been stuck between $130 to $132, and the sales, sporadic. Between January to March, we've seen $130 to $140 sales, and the card itself is $130 to $300 among all of its listings right now, but only 1 listing is above $140. So there's still room to pick this up if you're still looking at the $130 range, but given that we now have 5 listings, I guess there isn't as much desire to pick it up these days. Next is going to be Amelia Silver Paladin, which is a good tech option for Hero Sword these days, and also one of the most popular ultimate rares of set 2, if not the most popular. This card is currently $61 base and a market price of $72.13, where the market price has dropped off from just above $78, and the card has been selling more recently at $65-ish. Available listings right now start at 61, and there are a good amount of them at 70 or below. 2 pages worth, though. So it's still pretty well available. Given that Hero Sword continues to be popular, this card could still see some sales. Of course, when it comes to set 2, the cover card of this whole set was Bahamut, and its Evo has an ultimate rare, which has dropped all the way down to the bottom of the barrel. The base price is now $20 with a market price of $55.81, which is not a huge tank in market price given that it's $60 to $55, but Well, it did sell from the end of March, $35 pretty consistently, but now we have two listings at $20 and then a number more at $35 or less. Bahamut's not seeing much play, and ultimately, I guess you have to be a fan of Grand Blue Fantasy or any of the Bahamut series, like Rage of Bahamut or such, to really want to pick up this card. Our last card to cover today is the Ultimate of Dark Dragoon Forte, which is a base of 137 right now with 9 listings. And this one has been selling more recently, which is a little sporadic, but not that much. There was one sell at the end of March for 135, and just today, there were 2 sales at 114 and 140. Currently, the card is 137 base and available for about 150 for most of its listings right now. Forte, as I did talk about the legendary on the last Market Watch, but this ultimate rare, Forte itself is still a pretty good card to pick up for Dragoncraft in general, and the artwork of this is pretty nice, I gotta say. If you go for the Japanese version, that one I will note is a uncensored version of this, which, if you're into the Japanese market, that would be something to look into as well. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys later.